Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk and welcome back to another TV review. Actually, this is going to be a whole TV series review. But before we get into that, real quick, it's been a while. Quick admin notes. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It does help my channel out greatly, and I do truly appreciate it. And for those that don't know, I do have social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Those links will be down in the description down below. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and follow that. But let's get back to my review of The Wheel of Time. Now, I know as a series review, I'm going to try to keep this brief. The Wheel of Time was 8 episodes. It was also late. I should have been doing this back in December, but here we are now in February going into March. But I really wanted to do this review because I am a big Wheel of Time fan. I've been a Wheel of Time fan since 1992. I think only the second book had been out at that point, and I was pretty much following it ever since. It's pretty much been one of the most prolific book series in my life. It is the series that I will recommend to people if they ask me for book recommendations, if I know they haven't read The Wheel of Time yet. I'm actually wearing a Wheel of Time shirt right now. I know you guys can't see it too much, but I love Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time has been in my life since I've been a teenager. I'm going to try to keep this brief. I'm trying to go and keep this short. When rewatching this TV series and writing my notes for this TV series, it just kept spiraling out of control. So I'm going to hopefully keep this brief and concise as much as possible. Please bear with me, and I hope you enjoy my review of The Wheel of Time. Okay, so first I'm going to try to break this down for you guys. I'm going to do my pros, my cons, and then do like a summary at the end. So that way I'm not just bouncing all over the place and trying to go from one end to the other. I am going to try to give you guys as concise a review as I can. And the first thing I want to get into is the actors. And for a series like The Wheel of Time, I knew they were going to kind of go the Wheel of Time, not the Wheel of Time route, but the Game of Thrones route, where for the most part, you had a lot of no-name actors or actors that just hadn't really been in a lot of stuff. And so that way you can get them for long periods, long-term contracts, really. And so Rosamund Pike was like the big name, the big draw to get people to come. It's like, oh, look, we got this A-list actress out there. Come watch our show. And then fill it in with a lot of, new or really green actors. And I want to say right off the bat that those actors did a phenomenal job. I love their performance on screen. I can't wait to see where they go in season 2, because now I think they have a feeling for where their characters are and what their characters mean and are kind of how they are going to go in the storyline. I know some of the actors have read the books, and so that way they know kind of like the character arc that their character is going to go on. I don't know about that for everybody, but I know their performances were really great for actors that really haven't been in a lot or were really just getting their foot started or a foot in the door. And one of the performances that I really loved is Johan Myers. I hope I'm saying that right. If you're coming here and expecting me to pronounce every name or even every word correctly, that is not me. And I'm not going to be very apologetic about it. I suck at pronunciation. But Johan Myers played Patton Fane, and he just did a phenomenal job. I know he wasn't in a lot of scenes and a lot of episodes, but the scenes and episodes that he was in, you just felt that he was this creepy guy. His smile just really lent to his character letting you know that there's more behind him than just being that merchant that came into the Two Rivers every season. He was there to do something, and it's not always going to be the right thing or be a good thing. And it seems like the writers, I'll give them props for this, were sprinkling him throughout the season. You could hear him whistling, you could see him in the background. It was amazing to see him peppered in and just be that creepy guy following our Edmund Five throughout their journey to get to the Eye of the World, and then see him kind of do his own thing at the end of the season, and now trying to figure out where he's going to go with what he has. He has the dagger that corrupted Matt from Shadar Logoth. He now has the Horn of Valir. And so this ties into book 2 and gives us more storyline going forward with Patton Fane. I can't wait to see where they take his character, because I really do think Johan Myers was really good as Patton Fane, and I can't wait to see where they take him and see how much more layers that he himself can bring to that character. And probably another character that another actor that I want to highlight is Abdul Salas, who played Eminvalda. The questioner for the White Cloaks. Now in the books, the White Cloaks are kind of like a joke. They really are not a threat to anybody. They really are kind of like a puffed up your chest. They really terrorize more of the common people because the common people don't have the power to fight back. Where in the book, the Aes Sedai and a lot of the kings and queens and power bases can fight back against these people. But man, I will give props again to Rafe and his team. They transitioned the White Cloaks into being these big bad people that are better than they were in the books. I'll go ahead and say it. But Abdul Salas bringing Valda to life, he just embodies like pure, like, I am devoted to this cause and I am going to find evil wherever it lies, be it within the Aes Sedai, which are, or even the common people. When he was on screen, he pretty much stole the screen. His presence was great. I can't wait to see them do more with him, and see where he goes in the seasons further, because someone, I never realized how much you can hate someone just seeing their presence when they come on screen, but they did it. He did it. It was just funny. The two people that I really loved the most in this series were two of the bad guys. Two people that were not really great, but they just seemed to embody it, and I just love that. I can't wait to see what direction they go with their character. And cinematography, or pretty much, I won't say all of the cinematography, but pretty much the B-rolls and the establishing shots. Man, I kind of want to visit Prague, because if this is like the countryside of Prague, or these are sections of the country in Prague, they are beautiful. They really make you feel like you're going back into medieval times, or a society that is not as advanced as we are today. Gotta love them. Give them props, because just seeing them pan across like the hills and the mountains when the group was traveling is phenomenal, and is really beautiful, and is something that should be called out, because I don't think a lot of times we focus on that background. We really focus on the actors and the dialogue and the writing, but we don't focus on the overall picture. And it was beautiful. It was stunning. Even like Edmund's Field, or Two Rivers as they're calling it in the TV show, was really well done, even though Two Rivers was kind of small. It should have been probably a little bit bigger. I know, with the amount of people that are living there. But those details shows you that there are some that love the show and really want to bring it to life. And I think they did it in that method. One of the things that I was worried about when the Wheel of Time got announced was the visualization of the One Power. How are you going to bring to life this power that really not everybody can see? Only the people wielding the One Power can see. And overall, I will say that I did like their use of the One Power and how they showed the different dynamics of it. And I do love that they showed the corruption for the men, or the taint, as it used to be called, the corruption for the men when they used the One Power, using that black, inky, oily thread that comes through their One Power. But really what I would love to have seen, because in the book, the One Power is split into, earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. I know it sounds like you're summoning Captain Planet, but it's bringing all those elements together to form that one weave that does a certain thing. So, like Nynaeve is in the books is a very powerful wielder of the One Power, and she is very powerful in the healing domain of the One Power, where others might not be powerful in the healing aspect of it, but are powerful in finding metals or doing stuff with earth. There are different aspects, so I don't know how they're going to play that off. Really, and not to get into the negatives here, really they kind of, I think, skewed that power level with Nynaeve and even some of the women at the end of the season. So I don't know how they're going to really kind of bring that back and show that, yes, there's different power levels. Just because Nynaeve was able to do something doesn't mean that, Moiraine can do it, or even Egwene can do it. even though they kind of did that at the end of the series. I'm not going to get into that. But overall, I was happy with how they took the weaves and kind of brought it to life, because it is a very difficult task, right? You have a description in the book of what this person is doing, and now you got to somehow visualize that, or put that on the small screen so you can visualize it. I just wish they kind of expanded it more, had different color weaves, and shown, that it's not just this one weave, and it's not the hand movements, and it's not them doing, XYZ, but it actually used more, like they were it's called a weave because they were weaving the threads together to form this power. And continuing to give out props, I want to give out props to the cold open for episode 7. I'm a huge fan of the Aiel. I love the Aiel culture. I just love hearing about the Aiel in the books, and I couldn't wait to see them put on the small screen. And I wasn't really expecting to see them in season 1. I was really, maybe, you in book 2 you get a little bit of the Aiel. Book 3 is when they really come into full force. So I wasn't really expecting to see anything Aiel-ish until like season 2, maybe season 3. So the simple fact that we got to see Shael and her battle on Dragon Mount while she's in labor with Rand was very well done. It was one of the best, if not the best scenes in all of season 1 for the Wheel of Time. That fight was just phenomenal. I loved it. I could watch it. I think I have watched it tons of times. And I really wish people would recognize how great that scene was. And even not just talking about what it meant for the lore of the Wheel of Time, but just the way that they handled Aiel. So I can't wait to see how they handle when the clans come and we get to see bigger battles with the Aiel. I can't wait to see that. If that's what the direction we're going to go, they'll have me down, hands down. I will love it, but don't disappoint. And let's talk about the big bad evil people, the Trollocs and the Myrddraal. I'm not going to talk about the CGI until a little bit later, but just pretty much the aesthetics of both of them. These are creatures that are not meant to be, your goody two-shoe characters. You're not going to see them walking down the street and be like, oh, that's a Myrddraal, XYZ. These are creatures that if you see them, you want to be terrified of them. They are evil. They are here to kill you or kill your village or whatever. They are not here to make nice with you. And so the Myrddraal alone, their design, at first I was a little taken aback because, they are kind of in the book described as being man-shaped and can fool being a man in villages if need be, or in towns, except for being eyeless, and that's why usually they had their cloak up, or the hood of their cloak up. But man, seeing them on the small screen, seeing them in action, I was just like, okay, well done. You are bringing these evil creatures to life, and you are not only bringing them to life, you are giving them a horror aspect that I never thought of or imagined for these guys. And the same goes for the Trollocs. I loved, for the most part, that the Trollocs were practical effects with CGI added on, so that way the actors could act with them and not be staring off at a baseball or imagining that this 7-foot-tall creature is coming for them and attacking them. Again, these are creatures that they're amalgamation. These are, to give a little bit of backstory, these are creatures that were once, experimented on, made by a Forsaken, and cobbled together from man and beast. And so you get these terrifying creatures that are man-shaped but have a beak, have horns, have hooves, have claws. You are supposed to be afraid of them when you see them, and they do look good. Even seeing the still pictures of the Trollocs, I think they did a really good job with them in principle. So following on to that theme, let's talk about the Dark One. The book ending of the Wheel of Time is a little wonky as well. And the book ending, or the TV show ending for the Wheel of Time, or for season 1, was a bit wonky as well, but I think they handled the fight as much as possible that you could have with Rand versus the Dark One, and putting it into the mindset of, okay, this is The Dark One is not going to be someone that's going to come at you. He's going to seduce you. He's going to make you think. He's going to offer you stuff. He's going to be like the modern day devil. He's going to offer you something. He's going to tempt you so that way you join his side. That way you help him, release him, free him, because you give Rand that choice. Are you giving Rand that choice? I think it was really well done. And I think that's what we saw is like the Dark One, or the Dark One's representative, gave Rand these choices that weren't really choices. No matter what choice Rand made, he was not going to make the right one. He was going to mess up. This isn't Rand taking the last battle right now. This is setting up for the Dark One breaking slowly free and Rand having to deal with those consequences. And I think that segment was really well handled. Now, let's get to what people always want to hear about. What I thought didn't work. And the first one is going to be one that I know a lot of people aren't going to be on board with me, but Rosamund Pike as Moiraine just to me didn't really bring it. I don't know if it's just because this was a new character for her and that she hadn't really felt this character out, but I always thought that she seemed a bit alien to me, that she just seemed a bit off when she was on screen. There's just some choices and some decisions that her character made that in the book you kind of know why she's making these choices and decisions, but the Moiraine in the TV show really was just all over the place. This is a character that for the past 20 years of her life has been looking for the Dragon Reborn, has studied the prophecies, and she just made choices that just would not make sense. And I just thought like some of her interactions, I know Moiraine is supposed to be kind of standoffish, but she just seemed to be really not approachable. It more seemed like she was on a mission, which she is, but she was more focused on getting to the end of that mission by making sure that the people that she needed to get to that mission was with her and understood why they should be with her. Also, the cold opening for episode 1 was really confusing, was not really well done. I agree with a lot of people out there that the cold opening that showed Logain and him facing the King of Geldon was probably the better one that they should have done, especially with as much as they tried to focus on Logain this season as a false dragon. I get it. The actress that played Leandrin was phenomenal. I want to see more of her. I think she did a great job, but the cold open is cold. It didn't lead anywhere. It didn't really give us anything. I think they could have handled it better if they had given us Logain's opening or even the prologue from the Eye of the World. Next up are two topics that have already been talked about a ton of times, but I am going to give my opinion on them. And first up is going to be how they transferred Matt Cawthon from the book to the TV show. I hate it. I know people out there are defending it over and over again. Matt Cawthon has never been a thief, never been a bad character. I get it. They're trying to show that Matt Cawthon is doing all these things because he's protecting his sisters or trying to provide for his sisters as much as possible because, again, they decided to take Abel Cawthon and I forgot what his mother's name is and make them kind of degenerates and lechers and alcoholics. And so Matt has to do everything for his family and for his sisters. And Matt does that in the books too. He is someone that doesn't like responsibility. Yes, he is a gambler, a prankster, kind of the Loki figure for, the Wheel of Time. But he always comes through. He might not want to shoulder that responsibility, especially if you try to directly place it on him. But if Matt sees something that needs to be done or someone that needs help, Matt does the right thing. He will take on that responsibility. He just doesn't want it to look like he's taking on that responsibility. He doesn't want the titles. He doesn't want the lordships. He is there to have fun, to drink, to womanize, to have just have a good time. Throw the dice. I just think they really butchered it because they wanted to go in a certain direction. And I'm hoping, just like Robert Jordan, that in the next season or two, that they really find what worked for Matt to be Matt. Because it really did take like 3 books for Matt to become like a big fan favorite. And now on to the second one. I'm sure you guys can guess if I talked about Matt, I'm going to talk about Perrin. and the changes they made with Perrin. I get it. It is very tough with Perrin. Perrin is a very inward guy. A lot of his dialogue is inside his head. Perrin is one of those guys that he knows he's big, he knows he's strong, and he doesn't want his actions to hurt someone. So he takes a lot of time to think and plan things out so that way it doesn't hurt the person that he's with. But you didn't need to give him a wife. I get it. 3 or 4 books later, he talks about how he almost ended up with this person, but he left Two Rivers and that person went on to marry someone else. That's great. But if you're only bringing in a female character so that way you can kill that female character off, not only is that really disrespectful in this day and age, it is a trope that doesn't need to happen. In the books, you have the Luhans. The Luhans are the blacksmiths for the Two Rivers that Perrin is apprenticed to. If you really wanted to, the Luhans mean a lot to Perrin. You could have had Master Luhan kill it off. It would not have affected the story too much more, and that would have given you that emotional package that you wanted to, while Perrin is thinking about what side does he want to go on. Does he want to focus on the violent side? Do you want to focus on that kind of peacemaker side and see him, those two sides of him fight and Perrin figure out the way ahead for him? Now, earlier when I was talking about the Trollocs and Myrddraal, I said I was going to talk about something later on about that, and this is the section I'm going to talk about, and that's the CGI, not only for the Trollocs and the Myrddraal, but for other parts of the show as well. I get it. COVID-19 hit them when they were in production. Post-production took a massive hit. A lot of people had to work from home, or there was shortages of people to help out. But you could notice the difference. The CGI was not good. They tried to hide it in the shadows and blend it in the darkness. And I think that's one area where season 2 needs to show vast improvements of, especially in a series that deals with magic, deals with these creatures. Practical effects are only going to take you so far. You need to make sure that your VFX, your CGI, your special effects are all on point, because without it, it's just going to make what you're trying to do look really bad. And hiding it nowadays in shadow and darkness is going to be spotted. But I think coming up in season 2, you know those weaknesses, you know those problems, those issues that you had, you need to fix them. You need to show people that you notice those issues and that you're showing people that that was only because of what happened with COVID and the unexpectedness of it, and that you are going to improve going forward. Now for my last big gripe, big complaints. It's kind of twofold, but I'll mold them into one, is the pacing and additions that they made to the show. Now for the pacing of the show, it's kind of crazy because they went fast and then they went slow. What I mean by fast is that the pacing for the majority of this series was just quick. Bam, 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 bam. And I get it. There was a lot of stuff you had to get out. You wanted to make sure a lot of stuff was seen and noticed and done. But I think that hurt you as well. And I get it. I know Rafe wanted 10 episodes, but he only got 8. I really think he probably could have done 12 episodes. But it kind of hurt your show. And what I mean by that is that, like, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it here right now. Episode 1 needed to be 2 episodes. And don't come at me saying that you couldn't because he had 8 episodes. I'll explain that in a little bit later. But the simple fact was, the Edmund 5, we needed more of them. We needed to get to know them more. We needed to like them. We needed to know that these characters are going to be our main characters, and here's why they are our main characters. And we didn't really get that. We had a lot of focus on Moraine, a lot of focus on land, a lot of focus on Aes Sedai. The Two Rivers should have been 2 episodes, pretty much showing at the very beginning, showing us the Two Rivers' life, and then end it on Winter Night where we have the Trollocs attack, and then episode 2 could be the Trolloc attack, and then the aftermath of it. Two Rivers are stout, hardy, stubborn people. You come into their territory, they're not going to be yes sir, yes ma'am people. They will push back. And I think that hurt them because, or hurt the series, or hurt the TV show because episode 1 was like that. And we really didn't get any kind of inkling about what Two Rivers people are like. And so you don't get those idiosyncrasies of the characters. We could have seen their interactions more with Ran with Tam, Ran with Egwene, Nynaeve with all the people because she's the wisdom and how she interacts with the people. Pairing that, we could have brought on the Luhans, we could have got rid of the wife. Matt, we could have had better development of Matt and saying, instead of having him changing his whole background whatsoever, we could have had more. And then when Moraine was like, we gotta leave, you guys are the reason why the Trollocs and the Murjol came to Edmund's Field, you could have had more backstory, more history of that reason why. And then you could have had more of a heartfelt goodbye from the Two Rivers people. Because then we get to episodes like 5 and 6 where it seems like it slows down. I'm sorry, we did not need a funeral episode from a warder in Aes Sedai. They really don't have much to do with book 1, so you don't really need to explain that. The Aes Sedai should really not have been in season 1 as much as they were. And that's one of my critiques when people tell me that something could not be in the series because, they had a short amount of time. Yet Rafe and his team put in stuff that really didn't need to be in season 1. They could have been done in season 2. You could have dropped little hints in season 1, but you could have cut that, moved it to season 2, and that way you could have focused more on the Edmund 5, because the Edmund 5 are the people that we should be feeling for, are the people that should bring out emotion in us. And we really did not get that development in season 1. We better get that development in season 2, because they need to be the focus, not the people that we see, not the Aes Sedai. And to summarize, guys, I know you probably think that I hate this series, that I am some book cloak, but that's furthest from the case. I did enjoy the series. Yes, I do think they went in directions that I just don't agree with. I do believe the main focus should have been the Edmund 5. I hope we get that more in season 2, because they are the people that we should connect with. They are the people that we'll be following the most with, because their storylines are more prevalent than Aes Sedai and the Warders. Plus, at the end of season 1, they did tease the Seanchan, and the Seanchan are a big part of at least book 2, so I can't wait to see them brought to the small screen as well. I do have a little bit of reservations with what I've seen on the small screen, though, that little teaser. I'm hoping that gets changed a little bit and we get a better showing of what and who the Seanchan are, because those characters are just, they're not going to say evil, but they are not nice people. With that being said, guys, Shep Talk gives The Wheel of Time 3 Sheps out of 5. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you've done so, please remember to leave a like, share, and subscribe. It does help my channel out greatly, and I do truly appreciate it. But that is all I have time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.